It's been interesting because since your article dropped, I gotta say, it has got all the buzz. If you are on X, if you're on Instagram, TikTok for the young kids, you know that Caitlin Clark is the Time Athlete of the Year. How has your 24 hours been since the articles dropped?
It's been awesome, and just the reaction. Obviously, people so excited not only about women's basketball, but about women's sports, and how excited and deserving, not only myself, but just women's sports as a whole.
It's been interesting because since your article dropped, I got to say it has got all the buzz. If you are on X, if you're on Instagram, TikTok, for the young kids, you know that Caitlin Clark is the Time Athlete of the Year. How has your 24 hours been since the articles dropped? It's been awesome, and just the reaction, obviously. People so excited not only about women's basketball but about women's sports, and how excited and deserving not only myself but just women's sports as a whole. Caitlin Clark just became the first WNBA player to win Time Athlete of the Year, but not everyone's cheering. Star with you. What's your reaction to Caitlin Clark winning Time Magazine Athlete of the Year? I don't think I'm surprised. I am curious to know who the other candidates were in a completely unexpected but totally not surprising turn of events. Sheryl Swoopes, a four-time WNBA champion and now Clark's biggest critic, had some choice words about the win in this video we're breaking down. The controversy, the backlash, and the unexpected way Clark is handling it all. Clark had the perfect opportunity for a comeback. Instead, she did something that left everyone speechless. Here's why. Her response is a masterclass in grace and leadership, and I've grown up a huge women's sports fan. Whether it was basketball, whether it was soccer, whether it was volleyball, you go down the list. Like, I grew up loving it and watching it, so it's pretty special. Like, it doesn't really feel real that I get to be here, but an amazing honor. Picture this: Caitlin Clark on top of the world after winning Time Athlete of the Year, but not everyone's popping champagne. Enter Sheryl Swoopes, former WNBA star turned unexpected critic who's stirring up drama on Gil's Arena podcast. The fact that that's the very first WNBA player to ever win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year is pretty special, and my question is like the criteria, is it based off of her performance on the court, which yeah, she had a great year? Or is it more about the impact that she had on the game this season? Instead of congratulating Clark, Swoopes goes on a ramble. She questions the very criteria that led to Clark's win. I'm trying to understand what the criteria is, Swoopes says, her words dripping with skepticism. But Swoopes doesn't stop there. She starts throwing out other names, suggesting they're more deserving. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. Fans and analysts are left scratching their heads, wondering what's really going on here. This is probably just the impact of the sport. A little bit of it's a little bit of everything, right? So yeah, when you just think about athletes of this year, yeah, it's her. The swimmer. What as for Olympics, her performance puts back in there. You can put her back in there. Probably LeBron from his Olympics. As we dig deeper into Swoopes' comments, a pattern emerges. This isn't the first time she's taken shots at Clark. Remember when Clark broke the NCAA scoring record? Swoopes was right there, ready to re-on her parade. She questioned whether Clark's achievements were really that impressive given the changes in the game since the record was initially set. A'ja Wilson in there. That was just basketball. So that's what I'm saying. Was it just the performance on the court, or it's global? I think it's everything. It's everything. What about A'ja Wilson? She asks. It's a moment that leaves everyone listening in disbelief. Is this just a slip-up, or is there something more going on here? Swoopes' reaction reveals a deeper conflict bubbling beneath the surface. It's not just about Clark anymore. It's old guard versus new star, tradition clashing with the future of women's basketball. Swoopes, once the face of the sport, now finds herself watching from the sidelines as Clark captivates a new generation of fans. It just keeps putting a light on the sport for everybody else to eat. And sometimes just as athletes, we are competitive by nature, and we don't like when someone's getting something that we don't. They deserved right when we've been in a game. The basketball world is left reeling. Swoopes, a player who once inspired countless young athletes, including a young Caitlin Clark back then, now comes across as bitter and out of touch. Her comments spark heated debates on social media, with fans and fellow players weighing in on both sides. But here's where it gets really interesting. While Swoopes is busy casting doubt, Clark's star only seems to shine brighter. Her record-breaking performances and growing fan base speak volumes. The contrast couldn't be clearer. One player looking backward, the other charging full steam ahead into the future of women's basketball. Well, it's been a crazy year. It's hard to think about. Like, I was basically just starting my senior year of college at this time last year. And then I graduated. I missed my college graduation, got drafted here in New York City, basically moved right to Indianapolis, and basically start like a whole new chapter of your life instantly, and you don't really have much time to adjust, but lucky enough I had a really great support system and family around, and I'm from the Midwest, so didn't take me too long, but this past year has just been amazing. So how does Clark handle this unexpected criticism? Does she fire back, adding fuel to the fire, or does she take the high road, rising above the drama? Clark's response to this controversy could define not just her career but the very future of women's basketball. Get ready, because Clark's about to show us all what she's really made of. If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action. It's fun to reflect back and think about all the amazing things that I was able to accomplish and the people that I got to do it with. I think that's what's made it so special, is I've had my family with me the whole time, my friends, amazing teammates, amazing coaches, and it wouldn't be possible without all of them. So just really fortunate. Remember when we said Clark was about to show us what she's made of? Well, her response to the Time Award controversy isn't just surprise rising, it's downright revolutionary. Clark's handling of this situation is redefining what leadership looks like in women's basketball. While Swoopes is busy questioning her win, Clark's out there breaking records and capturing hearts. But how does she respond to the noise? Does she fire back at her critics? Nope. Clark takes the high road, and it's a move that's left everyone talking. The number of Indiana Fever fans I saw in young girls, and the way they were lighting up. I mean, you have represented something so special for the sport, but you've drawn eyes to a game that you've always grown up loving. What does that mean to you? Know, it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around, cause I'm so focused and so competitive, and I love the game, I love playing, I love being in front of the fans. But over the course of probably the last 2.5 years, it's all kind of changed, where it's hard to get a ticket whether we're at home or whether we're on the road. In her Time interview, Clark doesn't just brush off the controversy, she tackles it head on with a level of maturity that's turning heads. Caitlin Clark's rise to stardom came with a refreshing dose of self-awareness. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then you continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible. I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing. But Clark doesn't stop there. She goes on to highlight the legends who paved the way for her success, and guess who she mentions? Yep, Sheryl Swoopes herself. It's a move that shows Clark's not just a great player, she's a class act off the court too. Thoughts on Kay? Clark saying she wants to use her platform to elevate black women in the WNBA have been instrumental, obviously building that league to what it is. Okay, so what's the Clark's response is more than just taking the high road. It's a master class in how to handle criticism with grace and turn a potentially negative situation into a positive one. She's not just defending her own achievements, she's elevating the entire conversation around women's basketball. I remember my first WNBA game, one of the best memories of my childhood, and I think very influential in wanting to be a professional basketball player. Wanting to be a great person, having those people to look up to and want to be like one day. So I just try to embody that every single day, and I feel like I have good perspective on basketball isn't my everything. Yeah, I love it and I get to do it, and it's given me a lot of really great opportunities, but at the same time, win or loss, I feel like I try to be the same person. The contrast between Clark's approach and Swoopes' comments couldn't be clearer. While Swoopes questions and criticizes, Clark chooses to celebrate and uplift. It's a strategy that's winning her even more fans and silencing her critics in the most effective way possible. But don't think for a second that Clark's kindness is weakness. Her words carry weight and her actions speak volumes. She's proving that you don't need to tear others down to build yourself up. In fact, by raising those who came before her, Clark is securing her own place in basketball history. Know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. I feel like